Yeah? 44 seconds pace. You just ask Flash. Or yeah.
Side note, look at these qual times.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You are going to have 2 minutes worth of grid, too, to work with, so there's at least that.
Yeah, get with Flash real fast, Face.
I'm watching the live broadcast, and I was hearing both for whatever it is. Yeah, the game's just faint, and yeah, you can hear all of it, so shut up. Stop being so unhappy. Really? Yeah.
Alright, now I'm talking, and now game's playing, and they're on the grid. Here we are at Daytona International Speedway for the I've Got Ballz 250.
Yeah, this is like a minute ago. You can hear Bobby talking and everything, telling you to get with Flash.
Okay, we're on the grid, guys. It's time to go.
Hold on. Let's just start it off officially. Seriously.
Yeah,
okay. Let's get a countdown.
3.
Just lead them off,
2,
Bates. Here we go.
1. Go. Here we are at Daytona International Speedway for the I've Got Ballz 250. And on the front row, we have Peter Bohall starting on the pole. In row 3, we have Brennan McGee and Evan Melanson.
I don't think that we can hear you, Bates.
We can't hear me. Are you sure?
Oh, okay, we can. I'm sorry. I just ruined everything. Sorry.
You just ruined everything. All right. This is it. This is.
And you got it wrong. It's Kyle Tariska.
Oh, I know what I got to do. I got to reset the thingamajigger so it'll.
You'd already ruined everything. So
yeah, it's already ruined. All right, guys, we got this.
You want me to lead her off?
Yeah, I'll lead them off, but I gotta get the grid graphic going. I gotta reset the thing so it'll know who's in what. All right, session, race. Oh God, that was not what I needed it to do. All right.
We're rolling.
We're rolling.
No, they just started the engines. We're not rolling yet. Now we're rolling.
Well, now that the audience can actually hear us, why don't you let them know what this race is, Bobby?
Oh, okay. I thought we were going to restart again. Welcome to the I've Got Ballz 250 here at Daytona. Fantastic day for racing indeed. On the front row is row. Kyle Taraska, if I'm not pronouncing that right, I suck. The 47 of Chris Overland, Cody Dutton, and Scott Stencil will round out your top 4. And top 5 is Danny Hongden in the 58. Sorry about the pronunciation there. Let's go over the top 5 things we're going to be looking out for here today at Daytona. Avoid the big one. It's 100 laps and quite a lot of time to get into trouble. We'll have to stay out of trouble through this whole session. If you want to get to the end, you got to make it to the end. Avoid the big one. Number 2, keep the temps down. We've seen temps way up all week long testing here. You're not going to be one pushing. Not going to be want to be pushing all through the corners and the whole lap. You're going to have to want to get some air into that grill. Number 3, take your time. Very long race, 250 miles, 100 laps here. And finally, last but not least, be in the position when it gets down to the get-go, the last 10 laps. You want to put yourself in a good position to win this race. You do that, and we're going to have a good time. Coming off turn number 4 to get the green flag for the I've Got Ballz 250 here at Daytona. Paige, you there?
Pace car about to pull into the pits here. Get this thing rolling.
Kyle Taraska is going to lead them to the green flag. They're set to go here for 250 miles.
Green flag is out, and we're racing at Daytona. Chris Overland with a good start, but not as good as the 4, and the 3 are already hooked up as they head out of the tri-oval to head to turn number 1.
You're going to see a lot on these restarts. You're going to be pushing while the engines are cooled down, try and get a little bit of an edge on the field, but about a lap, maybe 2 laps, they're going to have to back off and cool down.
See some jockeying back in the pack, people getting to the lanes that they want to run in here early on, trying to feel out their cars as those front 2 are still working together, trying to pull away from the pack a bit.
Yeah, we'll be watching the 47 here. He got not the best of starts. He's there with the 58 of Danny, and we're seeing the field kind of spread out here up front. Not many cars wanting to get next to each other. Single file for the first about 6 or 7 cars off turn number 4.
Scott Stenzel and Jeremy Stanley stuck on the high side looking for a place to dive back into the bottom line. No help up there up top.
Single file about all the way through the top 10 and just a little bit side-by-side racing behind that.
Stenzel was able to work his way back in the line, but Stanley's still looking for a gap.
Now the entire field as they come through turns 1 and 2 down the super stretch here at Daytona. Single file for a good portion, and this is exactly what they want to see. Nothing crazy. I think a lot of people had anticipated it to be a little bit more antsy because we had a couple guys start from pit road. They are Ben Hancock and Matt Sanders. They are far from the pack. I think they're in a position just to be really, really careful here as they come off turn number 4.
Well, like you said at the top, 250 miles to work with here. There's a lot of time to get yourself into trouble, and you want to be there at the end. However, based upon how this was running earlier this week with the testing and everything, it's really surprising to see them all single file with how much they were going after it in practice.
I'm guessing that in that driver's meeting they had a stern talking to from Mr. Brendan McGee about the race conditions and how easy it is to really wreck with the bumps here. We're going to ride on board with Chris Overland and going to see how he goes over these bumps.
Yeah, look ahead of him. We just had the 3 and the 4 hook up there for a second at the top of the broadcast here. We were just talking about the temps and how you have to be real careful. We'll have to see how long they can push. It didn't stay together too long. And just as I say that, they're back again as they come across the line.
Yeah, it looked like they looked for some air there, but now they're getting back tucked up underneath of each other. Really early, you don't want to cook the engine at this point.
You're talking to some of the drivers before the race. It was not the water temps climbing, but the engine temps, the oil. Whenever the gear that they have in here, they're on the limiter all day, and so not only do they have to stay out from behind each other, but they got to stay off the gas a little bit.
In the back there, look, Evan Melanson going to try to go high, dives onto the apron, or down to the bottom line. But we have a couple cars. One smoke coming out of one car there for a second. We've got a couple cars getting a little fanny as they come off turn number 3 and 4. That was interesting as Evan Melanson tried the high side, and then things got a little crazy. They'll settle back down once again, but I suspect we'll start seeing some people get antsy here after we've just finished lap number 5, or started lap number 5. I think people are going to get kind of curious about that high line as we see a couple of guys dive up there.
At a track like this with all the bumps on bum, you've got to expect the high side to come in at some point. Not everybody wants to grind all day.
And personally, in my experience, I feel at the high line, when you want to make time, if you get a group of people up there, that is a faster line. You can make up a lot of ground up there, and nobody wants to just ride around for too long here. You want to sniff out the front and see what you have for later in the event, as we see Evan Watson making progress up high.
Yeah, it looks like Overland moved up to give him a little bit of draft to maybe get the high line going, but he's going to tuck back in and look under the 3 car now as they go off into turn number 1.
Yeah, look at Cody Dutton here as they go into turn number 1 through turns 2 and on to the super stretch down the backstretch. Evan Melanson going to go to the high side. He's right alongside of Chris Overland. Now it's starting to get interesting. Will anybody go with Evan? They are all tucked on the bottom. Don't look now, the 24 of Triffin Davis, as they get to the end of the super stretch, going to look and hook up with him.
This is the battle for third. Evan Melanson has Triffin Davis pushing him, and Chris Overland has Danny Congdon pushing him. Now he moves up to the high side in front of Melanson. He's going to look for the lead here as they come past the start-finish line.
That's going to complete lap number 7, or start lap number 7, excuse me. Lap number 6 completed. Now we're 2 by 2 by 2 into turn number 1. through turns 2, and we're going to be heading on the backstretch. Here we go. Going to be a battle for the lead off turn number 2.
That outside line's really going to get the run down here in the turn 3. It's just a matter of how much of a boost they really get in the center.
Taraska is led from the green flag, but now he has to surrender to lead. Chris Overland takes over the point.
Big bobble by the 32 of Evan Watson. I thought he was going to lose it there right in front of Triffin Davis. He holds on to it. These bumps are not being as forgiving as these guys expected as they come through turns 3 and 4. Now onto the front stretch, the complete lap number 7 of 100 here at Daytona.
Chris Overland got the lead, went down to the bottom, and now looked like he went to try and get back up at the high line, and now he's stuck in the middle in the sucker hole.
That was really close to the door of Taraska there, over the bumps and everything. Very lucky to not get hooked right there, and he's going to drop back to, looks like, 5th.
Now Triffin Davis and the 32 of Evan Watson hook up down the backstretch. 1 bump, 2 bump, 3 bump, now a walk. New leaders up front, 32 and 24. Can they get to the bottom? They will into turns 3 and 4.
Looked like Cody Dutton was going to try and push Taraska there going into the corner, then realized that the 24 and the 32 just had too much momentum. Might as well just let them go at this point and not cook that engine.
Yeah, I don't think anybody realized it, but Chris Overland got into the wall going in turns 3 and 4. He is now being passed by the 86 of Neil, and he might get passed by more here as he's trying to jump in line to get this car going again. He's lost a lot of speed and fallen way back now after that little contact he had with the wall.
Looks like he's found a place to settle in 11. He'll have to just ride it out here, see if he's got any damage to that car, and try and make sure he doesn't do that again.
It looks like we got a new group of guys looking to take the lead, and it's the duo we had from the beginning, the 4 and the 3 car up front, side by side with the 32 and the 24. Off turn number 4, down the front stretch. Are we looking to have new leaders? They are side by side. Put them to the point. 3 and 4, back to the front.
It's very interesting racing we're having with this package. It's packed, but if you're going to pass somebody, it looks like you're going to have somebody pushing you to do it.
Yes, it's looking like we can get some short bursts of people pushing each other to make passes happen. But you can't stick with it too long, so that's creating a lot of passing situations up front as people exchange their pushes.
Yeah, and we just seen that with the 3 and 4, but look at him. He's got to be getting hot now. The 3 is all over the back of the 4 car. Him and Cody and Kyle here, they are the duo up front. They've been there all day so far. 10 laps already into this event, and so far they've gotten it done. Oh, Evan Melanson very high as they come off turn number 4.
I don't know if he scrubbed the wall, but if he didn't, he just barely missed that wall in 3 and 4. Perhaps decided that he had enough of that up front. Maybe it was getting to be a little bit too early for him. Maybe he's going to settle back in the pack.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's doing now. And wow, the 30 and the 12 almost make contact there. These bumps are really throwing these guys off. It's like a Bronco, really. You can't really make a decision because you're not knowing where the car is going to go. It's not in your hands when you're going over these bumps at 199 miles per hour.
That's Jake Potak in the 30. Looks like he's getting his car dipped below that yellow line a little bit. And it's hard to get away with doing that without any bad repercussions.
Yeah, and wow, just look at him. Gabriel and Triffin Davis just all but sideways coming off turn number 4. These guys are really having a handful of a time here.
But I'll tell you what, I'm sure they're all having fun with it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. These guys love a challenge, and that's what they're getting. Oh, contact there with the 24.
Smoke out the back to 24.
A little bit of contact there with Gabriel Duarte hitting Triffin Davis entering the corner. Looked like a bad spot to be doing that. They got away with it, though.
But yeah, back to the drivers having fun with the event. This indeed is a very fun package to drive, and I'm hearing that there's going to be another event just like this one, but at Talladega in the coming months.
It'll most likely be just as interesting as we've seen these first 12 laps be here at Daytona. As we come around the complete lap number 12, it looks like we might be getting into lap traffic up here. And let's see, it's Danny Condon here, as he is very, very slow there in the 58 as he's just now going into 1. Your leader is going into 1 as of right now. Last lap 45 for Kyle Taraska, and Danny is just ran a one. It's not showing up on the interval here what he ran, but definitely slow as Triffin Davis way to the apron as they come down the backstretch. He's going to fall back in the line.
I guess they just wanted to drop back. I'm not sure what else might have happened there.
I just went back and looked at it. It looked like he had a an issue there on lap 8, had to go back to the garage and just came back out on track. He's a couple laps down at this juncture.
Here's your update on Danny Condon, and we'll see if he can finally get this thing going back again, maybe get back onto the lead lap, if he's going to go down another one.
Looking at scoring, he scored 25th, 3 laps down, which is really unfortunate to be 3 laps down in any event, but 250 miles to work with here to get that ground back.
Something I'm seeing... Go ahead.
Although the pack is approaching him to put him a 4th lap down.
Yeah, and something I was just about to say, I'm seeing a pattern here. We're not really getting crazy. These guys are very, very, I guess, okay with running the way they are now. I mean, the wildest we've seen is 2 and a little bit of 3 wide, but that was just by accident. As we see the 2 car coming very close and sliding back into the lane there. Wow, what a crazy move.
I was just about to say, even with them running in file, following each other's tire tracks, it's really, really difficult for them to keep off of each other just with how the bumps are and each car working different over them.
Yep, that was something I wanted to get to in the pre-race, just didn't have enough time to talk about. Number 5 of managing this race is, well, managing the corners and their bumps that they offer. Don't forget about them. So far, every driver's been into them, and just look at these guys coming through turns 3 and 4. Like I said, it's as if you are riding a bunking Bronco.
And as they go past the start-finish line, Danny Condon is being put a 4th lap down.
And he's going to give him the whole bottom line, which is the preferred at this point, so good on his part.
Currently 25 cars on track, 24 of them on the lead lap, the lone exception being Condon.
We've had a lot of guys sitting at the back today, but it looks like they're gonna they're making their way up, and they're actually right there in the group now. Brennan McGee and Evan Melanson.
Just an update for you on those cars that started on pit road. There was the 97 of Matt Saunders, the number 5 of Ben Hancock, and the number 59 of Sim Lambeau. They're about 15 seconds behind the leader at this point in time, but they're all working together, so they're not losing too much time. However, if this stays green long enough, that could prove to be a problem.
Yep. Something we've seen during the testing and some of the events prior to this, these cars can really go a good 35 to 40 laps on a tank of fuel. It just depends on how much drafting they're doing, and especially these guys out front, they're going to get a little bit of a worse fuel mileage because they're not in the draft. It's, they're being affected by the air out front, and everybody behind them won't be. So we'll see, similar strategies when it comes to the pitting, but we're still a good ways out of our pit window here as we're just coming across the line to complete lap number 17.
Keep seeing drivers back outside the top 10 look into that outside line, trying to see if they can get anybody to follow suit and make a run up there, but looks like everybody's just content to pick up a spot here and there as they go up and get back into line so they can ride.
I'd like to see, as we're looking here at the 12 getting bump drafted, Gabriel, let's try to go on board with the 12 car and go on his gyro cam and just go for a lap and just to show you what these guys are experiencing inside the car with this degree of banking and all the bumps that we're seeing here.
On board here down through the tri-oval, and you see quite a bit of banking here, not as much as in the corners, but it's still a lot even for a track like this.
Yeah.
And now as we enter the corner, you can see the increased banking going through turns 1 and 2, and you can just see how the bumps affect how they have to negotiate these corners.
You hear him working the throttle a lot here in the pack behind the 2 car.
Yeah, and even on the super stretch, getting out of the gas to throttle to kind of get the car where he wants it to be. He's really in no hurry. That also could be an overheating issue. He's not wanting to get too close to the 2 in front of him, trying to get some air to that grill. And it might look like these guys are all over the track, but they're managing the bumps right there. Just look how loose in the tri-oval these cars are, and that's a lap here at Daytona on the gyro cam, and it's something that you have to experience with this new technology that iRacing's offered us here with these cameras. It's something that you kind of get to see what they're experiencing outside of the car.
And you can see how much they're having to go up and down the track as they negotiate all these bumps. And even on the straightaways, they're a little bit squirrely and out of control, probably based upon how they have to set up these cars to get through those bumps. But as a result of that, everybody's kind of hesitant to break out a line, and that's why you're hearing him work the throttle on the straightaways, just trying to make sure he doesn't make too big of a line.
Coming across the line to complete lap number 20. Your two leaders that have been up there all day, Kyle and Cody, the Kyle and Cody show, the 3 and the 4. Between them, they've probably led all but a couple laps of the 21 laps we've completed today. We don't have a true statistic right now, but they have been up front 1-2 or 2-1 in which other order all day long. And I think these cars are very strong, and unless someone gets something going with another guy, I don't think it'll change. These guys are there for the long haul.
Brendan McGee now making a move on the outside. He's going from 7th, now challenging for 5th, but it looks like he's all by himself out there.
Actually, we do have a statistic on the lap sled, and it's a 18 lap sled today for Kyle Daraska.
Okay, thank you for that.
Now Evan Melanson's moving in behind the 94 of McGee. Let's see if those two can make up some ground up there on the high line.
I think we'll see something here that we haven't seen all day long. These two guys are buddies. They have raced together quite a bit, and I think if we're going to see anybody get to the front and stay there, it's going to be with these two, and they are locked up onto the back stretch.
You just got to wonder how long Evan can actually push him up there on the high side, because they still have quite a bit of ground to make up, and sure don't want to blow up this early in the run.
The 94 is challenging the number 2 for the 3rd position, now moving up on the number 3 as they move onto the front stretch, continuing to get pushed by Melanson.
Yep, he's made it past the 12. He's working on the 2. He's working on the 3. And before we know it, he's going to be at the 4. Up front, Evan Melanson and Brendan McGee into turns 1 and 2, battling for second and looking for first.
Taraska looked like he was going to go up and block that line. Now thinks better of it, comes back down to his partner there, Cody Dutton, and they're going to get a big run up top.
Down the super stretch, Brendan McGee, Evan Melanson, 1-2 up front, new leader as they go into turns 3 and 4. Can they hold it though? Evan Melanson
in the wall.
That was close, and it's still close as Evan Melanson still 3 wide there with the 12. Brendan McGee takes the lead to complete lap number 23, but Evan Melanson all gone, and he has fallen like a rock.
McGee finds himself in the lead, but he lost his partner, so it's just a matter of time, it would seem, until the number 4 of Kyle Taraska works back around him with help from Cody Dutton.
It looks like Evan Melanson's going to get picked up there in the back, but he's still stuck on the high line. And when I say stuck, he's being forced all the way up and basically into the wall. And that was just by the 41. Now he's all the way on the apron. Looks like the 11 of Peter Bohall is going to hook up with him and get something going again. Someone to look out for is Gabriel. Can't pronounce that last name, but he's in the 12 name in the last in the 12 car there. The last couple of laps, he's been all over the track, but he's been consistent, staying where he's at. I think he'll be an up-and-comer here at the end of this race. We'll have to keep an eye on him. He's definitely one of those cars that's lurking.
He's running in the 5th position, and he has been all over the 2 of Jeff Ramsdell as they make some contact there. Looks like he's really antsy, doesn't want to ride there as they make more contact coming off of turn number 2.
Yeah, the 2 was opposite lock there coming off the corner. That was crazy. And new leader up front, 3 and 4 are going to go back at it again up front. Looks like Brendan McGee going to get held out to, well, down to dry, rather, as they make it on the high side. But the 2 and the 94 now get hooked up. Will the 12 go with them through turns 3 and 4?
Coming down to the start-finish line, they're side by side. McGee getting the push from Ramsdell and Taraska getting the push from Dutton. Give the lead to Taraska at the line.
Yeah, we are closing in about the next 10 or so laps. We'll be on our pit window. Right now, it's going to be a question of, do we get a caution before? And then, and if not, it's going to be a little bit of strategy because it's a 100-lap race, so there will be multiple pit stops. I think we're looking at 3 or 4 in total at the least. And, wow, big slide job up from the high side, down to the bottom, right in front of Brendan McGee as they go down the super stretch into turns 3 and 4. Jeff Ramsdell was just behind him. He had to get off the gas. Cody Dutton and Kyle Taraska, man, they made a move going into 3 and 4.
Meanwhile, creeping into the back of the picture there, Evan Melanson working up top. He's pushing Matt Stallneck up there, and they're trying to make up some ground up high.
And they're just doing just that up front. And when they were up front not too long ago, and then they fell back, and then Evan got picked up, and he's back to push, and we'll have to see if he can keep that engine cool, though. He had a problem doing that just about 5 laps ago.
A lot of side-by-side racing now. Side-by-side, pretty much anywhere you look, just a little bit. And I don't know if I'm just not noticing it, but now that the tires have got heated up, it looks like they're staying about half a lane off the bottom, whereas earlier you'd see them hugging it.
And there was a little bit of a gap between the top 10 back to 11th place Neil Fasekis. With them running side-by-side up there, that allowed them to catch right back up.
Looking at the 12 car, just about a corner ago, he was almost into the side of the 42. I don't know if it's just his car or the way he's driving right now, but he's having a hard time keeping it off someone's quarter panel. And down the backstretch, look at Jeff Ramsdell. He's about time to get up front, he thinks, and they are 2 by 2 by 2, and it's going to get antsy through turns 3 and 4.
Ramsdell has a good run up top. He's working on the number 3 for the second position as they work their way into the tri-oval, trying to edge up alongside Tarasca for the lead.
Side by side for the lead as they come to the tri-oval, now heading towards turns 1 and 2. But that strong pair on the bottom, and he moves up to the block. Ramsdell on the high side. That was close. He goes right back to the bottom now. Ramsdell with a loss of speed. Now they head down the back of the super stretch.
They're neck and neck for second there, but Tarasca has a slight edge on them.
Now, the 42, who was just almost into the wall a couple laps ago on the back bumper of the 2, and the 12 is also there. 3 cars on the high side, and the rest on the bottom. Right now, it looks like the bottom's got the advantage, but off turn number 4, side draft with the 2 of Ramsdell. The 4 is not going to get there. New leader, 2.
By 15 thousandths of a second, the lead belongs to Ramsdell as they complete lap 29. And now he moves down to the bottom, and he's going to cut in front of Tarasca and hold on to the lead.
Yeah, that's very risky what he pulled off there, but he did just that. He pulled it off. Off turn number 2, though. He's not going to be able to hold it. Swip swap down the super stretch, and just like that, it's a different pair. The 42 and the 4 and the 3 and the 2. This is awesome.
As a driver, you have to be ready to look out for that swip swap. Meanwhile, the number 12 back there really trying to force his way into some holes and then backing out at the last moment.
If I'm not mistaken, he might have even caught the quarter panel of Stenzel right there. They're lucky they're still going straight right now.
Speaking of going straight, the 4 was just about heading straight for the wall. Ramsdell's all over the back bumper, and something we haven't seen all day. He gets in the back of him. Ramsdell sideways, still sideways. He saves it. Many cars making evasive maneuvers to get around it. They are 3 wide off 2 down the super stretch, and he saves it. An amazing save by Jeff Ramsdell.
That was amazing, and everybody that avoided that was a great job. Really heads up move, and we're still green. 31 laps in,
and we're still 2 and 3 wide here. It ain't even over.
That was a really good job by everybody behind that as it was happening to keep off of each other. They've been running on top of each other, as you've seen, all race long, and they were able to check up for that little bit of an incident there without any problem.
Yeah, I just brung it up that Ramsdell was doing something we hadn't seen all day, and he was pushing through the tri-oval, heading towards turns 1 and 2, and still pushing, and it bit him in the butt.
Well, we're working our way about a third of the way through this race, trying to see what the limit is as to what he can do. And we have a car sideways down on the apron.
The 42, he saves it. Somehow he saves it back up onto the track. That is very dangerous. Again, evasive maneuvers as up front they were blocking the 12, the new leader, but will it stay there? The 12 came down on the 3 as all the 42 was just saving it on the backstretch. We've got stuff all over this track, and just like last lap, we are still green up front, new leader 12.
Looks like the 42 Stenzel is going to be just lucky enough to have caught the draft. He is not going to have to worry about falling out of the pack just yet.
And that was all started with Gabriel Duarte coming off that second corner, came down a little bit, got into the side of Stenzel and sent him spinning towards the inside wall, but he was able to collect it and gather it back up. Keep going.
Man, last couple laps they've been just about everywhere but the fence. I don't know how they're doing it, but the intensity is definitely picking up here at Daytona.
Well, with that, we're going to cut to our first commercial break of the night, and whenever we get back, we should be having some green flag stops.
And a big one. Commercial in.
I think they're about a minute behind. I'm watching the stream when I see the commercial. Oh wait, I won't see the commercial off ad blocker. Alright, we're gonna go back in 15 seconds.
New leader, Brennan McGee.
Alright, 3, 2, 1. We are back now at Daytona International Speedway for the I've Got Ballz 250. Brennan McGee, your new leader, while we were on commercial break.
And you can see there's a little bit of a separation there between the first half dozen back to 7th place Peter Bohal being pushed by Nick Tarabuck. Bunch of cars strung out back there from 7th on back. They're going to have to get back together if they're going to try and catch that first half dozen.
Yeah, and it's the whole pack that is one by one by one by one all the way to the end of the super stretch, and I think it's good. It's a good omen because the last couple laps we've seen just about every car put it in the fence, and we're getting down to the pit window, so you have to be expecting them to get into a position where it's not going to be 3 and 4 wide when they're going into the pits. They don't want that. It's going to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah,
I was just about to say, we're approaching that pit window. You're not going to want to try and go from the high line down across other cars to get into the pit lane, so you want to get yourself into a position. And on top of that, with all those incidents happening and everybody having to check up for them, I think everybody's decided to just calm down, let things settle down, and then get back to it.
Yeah, newsflash for the 30 car, though. He didn't get it. Here comes Jake Potak, and he is pushing the 94 Brendan McGee. Not really needed, though, but he is all over the back bumper. He actually moves McGee up the track. Man. Off turn number 4, though, they still keep it straight.
Looks like Cody Dutton's trying to get some bit of a run up there up high. He's going to get alongside for second and now for the lead, getting a push from Taraska. These two have been working really well all night long.
And just that, in the beginning of the race, we said you're going to want to find a partner, find a position, and put yourself in a good one and get to the end of this race. And these guys have just done that, leading the majority of the race, 1-2. And it looks like we're going to be sitting pit stops this lap and next. So here we go. This is going to be interesting. We might see our first problem of the night here. They are 2x2.
Just another obstacle everybody's going to have to work their way through, getting down off the banking and onto pit road, slow it down to 55 miles an hour from a good 195 or so miles an hour. Looks like Jake Potak got in there really hot. I don't know if he got down to speed, but if he did, that was a good effort.
Point out, Brendan McGee has just killed the commitment cone. We will be giving him a moment of silence here. Green flag pit stop. This is a different monster. What do you got to do, Tyler, to put yourself in a mentality to get on and off pit road and just get back into the gas and go back at it?
Really, you just have to focus on getting square into your box, make sure you don't lock up the tires, and get an optimal run as you get off the pits, and make sure that you have a friend to work with, because if you don't have the draft, you're going to lose a lot of time really quickly.
I'm not sure if you guys caught that, but Jeff Ramsdale just, I don't know what he was doing, but he, looks like brake checked Brendan McGee. I don't know if he was waiting for the pack because he was just that much faster in his pit stop or what.
I don't know, but it looks like McGee may have gotten some damage, but not much, if any. And that second pack is now on pit road, and that second pack harbors a couple of the guys that were up in the top 5 there for a little bit so far today. And it's Jeremy Stanley. We've seen Evan Melanson, Gabe in the 12 car here. He is now pitting. He's been all over this today. This race off pit road
is going to be won by the 92 of Ian Flash. We'll see how they cycle out with that other.
Whoa, the 4 of Kyle Taraska just almost spun out exiting pit road. He's going to lose a lot of time. Going to come back out right in front of Scott Senza, it looks like.
Yeah, and they're merging dangerously close.
Cody Dutton is gone.
They're merging dangerously close to the second pack, and they got to be real careful here.
Oh my goodness, the 24 goes into the wall. Now he's going down towards the apron. He collects it back together, but a close call there.
4 wide, and look at the 2 car. He was all in the air going over those bumps on the 24-hour track there. That was crazy. I knew that was going to be too close for comfort. My goodness, give it to Hayden Rapaz. He is all the way up front in 3rd place, and he actually may have gotten one of the greatest green flag pit stops we've ever seen. He's actually a good 3 seconds away from the 2nd place when they cycle through here, because Matt Sanders and Ben Hancock have yet to make a pit stop here, and I believe they're going to do just that in the next couple laps here. So
those two are still waiting for a caution flag to get them bunched back up with the field. They started from pit road anticipating that there'd be problems early, and there've been some problems, but it just hasn't materialized into a caution yet.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, we've made it 41 laps officially this time by without a yellow flag. A service master clean caution is yet to fly here today. And
I think we have an explanation as to why Hayden Rapaz's pit stop was so quick. That's because it had not happened yet.
Real? Well, I'm sorry about that. Too good to be true, most likely. So your leader is going to be Ian Plash. He has definitely made a pit stop when Matt Sanders and Ben Hancock make the pit stop, which I believe is going to be next time by. They do not elect to do it this time. They are getting close, but like Tyler said, they are waiting for that caution. And unfortunately, if we didn't get one in those 5 laps of craziness about 10 laps ago, I don't think we're going to get one now. The rest of the field is single file.
We have a few drivers pushing each other, but everybody's pretty strung out now. Looking behind Ian Plash, you have Cody Dutton, and then closely behind Evan Melanson and Jeremy Stanley. But then there's a substantial gap back to Brendan McGee in the next half dozen or so cars.
Yeah, I expect this to be a pretty calm point of the race where everybody's strung out from different pit times, and they're probably just going to single file it up and try and all regroup, and that's when you'll see some action again.
Officially, it's a 2-second gap from Jeremy Stanley to Brendan McGee. So nothing that Brendan McGee cannot, get his guys to push him up there. I mean, I think we'll see the gap close as these guys up here decide to swap positions for 1st and 2nd. Right now, they're pretty calm. But don't count out that 2nd pack. They'll get there. It's just going to take some time.
And it's going to be interesting when they do get there because there's more cars working in that pack. There should be more momentum. And it might get a little bit hairy as they catch up to those top 4. Still officially at this point, though, Ben Hancock and Matt Sanders lead the field, waiting for them to make their pit stops. Ian Plash running 3rd, Cody Dutton 4th, and rounding out the top 5 is Evan Melanson.
I got to use the restroom. Be right back.
Working lap number 43 here at Daytona International Speedway of 100 schedule in the I've Got Ballz 250. Continuing to be paced by the number 5 of Ben Hancock. As they now work their way onto pit road and into their pit stalls, that's going to allow the other cars on the pack to take over the lead. And Ian Plash has come to pit road. Not sure what's happened here, but he's brought himself down onto the pit lane. An unscheduled pit stop, I'm sure.
Not sure what's going on there. Maybe some strategy? I don't know. Just not 100% sure.
Oh, they were just on pit road a handful of laps ago. I don't see what you would do there that would be beneficial strategy-wise. That had to be something that caused him to come to pit road. Maybe he had a speeding penalty he finally had to serve. I'm not sure. Suffice it to say, that's going to put him quite a ways back, and he's going to need a caution to get back into contention.
Looking back at the pack now, still all single file, but new leader of the 2nd pack, the 30, Brendan McGee, was shuffled out and is now trying to latch on the outside right now.
And a new leader of the front of the pack with the number 5 pitting and Ian Plash having to come to pit road. Cody Dutton takes over the lead, Evan Melanson following him, and Jeremy Stanley. Then a 4th car on the back end of that pack, Hayden Rapaw, who had to pit by himself. You see it's landed him a lap down, but he is in the free pass position should we get a caution.
Yeah, Carl, we haven't really seen up front much today in that pack. Jeremy Stanley right there behind Evan Melanson, and you got to think that he's just been trying to stay out of trouble, and it's working out for him so far.
Well, he's a really methodical racer. As everybody was up there getting all over the place and risking their equipment, he kept himself out of trouble, kept the fenders on that thing, made a good round of pit stops, made up a lot of time, and that was the easiest way to get himself up into 3rd place.
Yeah, that's a normal Jeremy Stanley move right there. Really methodical racer, as you said, and always thinking ahead.
And also a tip of the hat to Evan Melanson. Pushed McGee up to the lead and then found himself into the wall. Did a nice job to recover and find himself running in 2nd just behind Cody Dutton in a good position here as they work lap 47.
I'm not sure if he's ducking out for air, if he's ducking out maybe hitting to make a move, maybe with some help from Stanley, but I don't really see the need for it just yet. They are gone from that 2nd pack.
Listening to scanner audio, temperatures inside the cars reaching 280 degrees for the oil temperature, so they're right on the limit of what they can handle. So every opportunity they have, they need to duck out and get some air.
You know, late in this run, it could get really interesting because I'm sure none of these guys made a 100-lap run in any of the practices. So you got to think that there's some guys thinking that if they just take it easy now, they'll be good at the end, and other guys thinking, well, I might be done at the end. I've pushed it too much.
As we continue to watch, that 2nd group was actually losing some time there for the past couple laps. Now they made up 2/10 that last time. They're all trying to get single file and make up some time. It's not happening quickly, but it is happening.
Yeah, they're definitely creeping up back towards that lead pack, but it looks like there's a lot of scattering going on. That's definitely going to be costing them some time.
Meanwhile, up front, Ian Plash made that unscheduled pit stop. He's put a lap down by Cody Dutton. Now he's going to take over the free pass position, and with Hayden Rapaw right on the tail end of that top 5 group of cars, they're going to be racing pretty hard, I'm sure, to see who can get into that free pass position when and if a caution comes out.
Yeah, definitely. Got to expect Plash to be really aggressive with Hayden here, trying to be in the free pass position.
Yep, this time going to be halfway at the line. Cody Dutton leads, as he's done just that all day long. Behind him, Evan Melanson, Jeremy Stanley, Ian Plash, who was a lap down. Hayden Rapaw, which is also. You have to go all the way back to 4th, which is Jake Potak. He is back there for 4th position, and that is about a 3-second gap. So right now the gap is not closing, but I suspect we'll see something occur soon to fix that.
Looking at scoring, the number 30 of Jake Potak has scored 2.5 seconds behind the leader Cody Dutton. That's fluctuating between 2.5 and about 2.7 seconds every other lap. I just don't feel that group back there is working well enough together. They're all over the place, and every once in a while they get double filed with people trying to make up ground instead of trying to get up towards the front.
Yeah, I think with this configuration of this track, I don't think it promotes a good, let's get a pair going, and especially with the heating problems that will be relevant when you start doing things like pushing the whole lap. I just don't think they're in a position or even have the opportunity to close a 2-second gap like this. But I think we've seen the cards these guys are going to play today, and I wouldn't be surprised to see an ace and we see the 46 jump onto the apron there for a sec.
Why not? At that last time by, 2.1 seconds the differential between the leader and 4th place Jake Potak. I think the best thing that's helping them up front are those 2-lap cars, providing a little bit more draft and a little bit more momentum so they can have more speed.
Coming by the line this time, your leader still, Cody Dutton, as he's done that all day long. Something we haven't seen, though, is his partner that was there for the first good quarter of the race, and that is the car of Kyle Tereska, he has dropped back pretty far in the four car there. He has scored 8th position, in the 8th position on the backstretch here.
He's
again,
5th in line in that second pack, which, by the way, cut it down to 1.7 seconds that last lap. Just as we were saying, they weren't working too well together. Looks like they're starting to make up that ground. That won't be too long until they have the draft from Hayden Rapa.
I think what we're seeing here is these guys up front, just we're looking there now up front. They're just all over the place. They're breaking a huge, pocket of air, and Hayden's actually falling back a little bit. It's almost as if he's going to be the catalyst for them catching this pack.
I think that the main thing helping that second pack right now is how hard Ian Plash is fighting right now to maybe get his lap back the old-fashioned way.
If he could do that, not only would he get his lap back by virtue of being on the tail end of the lead lap, but Hayden would be able to get that free pass. That would put them both on the lead lap if he were able to succeed in doing that.
But all of that only happens.
Second pack continues to close 1.6 seconds last time by.
You just gotta think though. We could go caution free. They might not even have that opportunity right now. This is 53 laps in and no cautions yet. One green flag stop.
They can't think like that though. They have to put themselves into a position to take advantage if that does happen. Otherwise, they're going to have to just finish where they are.
Right now, the gap is still, it went up a little bit, 1.8. It's not really improving any more than what we seen a couple laps ago. It went from 2.3 down to 1.6 and now to 1.8. I think what's happening here is these guys can't push for a very long time, and I think that's the problem with Brandon Hoff. He can't get behind the 30 for too long.
But every time he does, they do make up some ground. So every time he gets up onto the back end of that 30, they get a couple of temps over the course of a couple of laps. So as he ducks out for some air, he's just working his way back up there to the bumper, and they're going to make up a little bit more time, 1.6 seconds that time by.
Yeah, they're really working
so slightly.
Working a lot to keep the second car in line cooled off right now, because that's their only hope of catching the leaders.
And while early on in this run, since the pit stops, they were all jumbled about in the that second pack, they're all working really well together, giving Brandon Hoff the opportunity to duck out of line and get some air without getting pushed past the 30 so that they can continue to make up ground working together.
Yeah, just what we just seen there for a sec. It was Jake and Brandon. They hooked up for about 500 feet at the most, and when they come across the line, I think we're going to see a better margin here, a decreased margin. Let's see what we get here. 1.6 last time by 1.2, and just like that, and this is it. They have caught the draft most definitely, and we're about to see 2 packs merge into 1.
And a lot of discipline as they were making up that ground from Jeff Ramsdell, right behind Brandon Hoff, holding back, making sure that he doesn't push Brandon Hoff past the 30 so they continue to make up that ground. Really, really aware driving from him.
And it's occurring right now, but I think we're going to do the swap. I think they've realized they can't be letting these guys, get air too much longer. They've got to the point of the draft where they can actually start pulling on Hayden, and just like that, the 2 is going to push the machine. Excuse me.
Pushing Brandon Hoff. He became aware of the fact they had the front draft, and now they're headed up towards the front. They're going to be looking for the lead before too long.
Just like that, it went from 1.8, 1.6 to 1.8, and we are in business, baby. The pack is back. Lap 57 here at Daytona.
10 laps ago, it was 2.1 seconds back to the third-place machine. Now it's 2.1 seconds separating the top 16.
And Hayden, being a courteous lap car, going to just drop to the apron and give them all the room they need to get by, and they're there. They're in the pack now, and Ian Plash almost making contact with the 3 of Dutton. Going to shumble them up a little bit, and they're all together.
Shuffling Ian out of line. I know he wants to get up there and get that lap back the old-fashioned way, but with Hayden dropping back, he's still in position to get that free pass. No point in getting himself into trouble for no good reason. It's not going to help him if the caution is himself. As you see, he's allowing them to go by on the inside. And now that these packs are back merged into 1, we're starting to see some cars work the outside lane. Coming to mind is Brennan McGee. He was able to work his way up to the lead up there. I see him poking up out the top line, but he's stuck behind Hayden Rapa at the moment. And now he has to duck down to the bottom again.
Look at the 2 of Brandon Hoff. Man, he is all over this track. Through the trial is a very dangerous spot to be where he was. He was on the apron. The rule for going under the yellow line, I'm not sure if it's enforced in this race, but it's definitely frowned upon.
I can confirm that it is enforced in this race. There is no passing below the yellow line.
There you go.
And a message being sent to the drivers from race control to watch that yellow line. Make sure you don't dip your tires below that yellow line. Otherwise, you will be subject to a penalty.
Oh, hard into the wall.
Contact with the wall.
It.
Keeps it straight, but that looked like a good lick. Might really hurt with a very aero-sensitive track that this is.
Yeah, and that's Jake Potak, and it looks like he's knocked the right side of that car a little askew there. We'll have to wait and see if that toe is working the way it should right now. Explain to us what a little bit of fender damage can do to us, Tyler, here at this 2.5 mile racetrack.
Well, these cars are just molded to be a certain shape to cut through the air just the right way, and when you make contact with the wall like that, you really put into risk how you cut through the air. You can lose a lot of speed, especially in the straightaways. Working the draft behind another car, you can get away with it, but if he gets to the front of a pack, he's probably going to be holding them down because there's going to be more drag on his car.
And man, it looks like the 2 doesn't have any drag. He is high, low, middle, somewhere to go. He's trying to get around every car he gets behind, and man, whether it comes to the 2 or the 12.
Battle for the lead, though. The number 30 doesn't care that he just hit the wall. He's going to push Cody Dutton up past Evan Melanson and into the lead.
Jeremy Stanley not going to give up. He is on the bottom line. He's trying to help Evan as much as possible, but they've kind of broken away. New leader up front. Oh, that's dirty. I thought for a second he was going to leave Jake up to dry, and he goes high, he goes low. The super stretch is showing, putting on a show. Into turn 3 and 4, new leader, Cody Dutton into 4.
And he does cut down to the bottom line, so Jake Potak has to run by himself, and now he's exposed to the air, nobody in front of him. He's really going to feel the effects of that damage. Oh, looked like he tried to cut into line and had to
he does.
jerk back out of that, almost got into Jeremy Stanley there.
That's a 200 mile per hour decision there. You cut down in front of a guy, you're going to go for a ride, and it was just about to happen. The 3 of Cody Dutton not caring whatsoever. He wants the lead. He'll do whatever he can to hold on to it.
Looking at it, though, Jake Potak looks like he's getting away with that damage that he has on his right side fairly well. He's able to run with these guys. Doesn't look like it's affecting him much in the draft, so he's fortunate that that is the case.
I don't know what's going to boil over more, the engine of Evan Melanson or him himself. He is not too happy. He just got blocked and chopped through the trial the last time by. I think we're going to see some pit stops, though. A couple guys on the pit road.
And if you, I'm not sure if anybody else saw that, but I saw the Ford ducking in.
Oh, Taraska trying to make up some time from his mistake last time, and he finds himself in the infield grass. Surely that is going to lead to a black flag. It looked like he may have missed the commitment cone altogether. If not, he was at least speeding.
And if we don't see a yellow, it's over for him, and that's unfortunate. But up front, 97, which I believe is a lap down car, has just went another lap down by Evan Melanson. They are fanning out down the super stretch here, lap 63 at Daytona.
That is Matt Saunders, who started this race from the pits. We were talking about how they needed the caution.
Sorry to cut in here, Tyler. We got the 2, and he is all over the track. Contact with Stanley. They are side by side for the lead. He's going to push Brandon Hoff to the point. Sorry about that. New leader, 25.
Jeff Ramsdale continues to shine Brandon Hoff, trying to get into a position where they can duck back into line, but Evan Melanson's working that bottom. Now he pulls alongside the 25. Side by side as they work out of turn number 2 for the point. Looks like Brandon Hoff is edging out just ahead of the 32. Not quite clear at this point, as it looks like Jeff Ramsdale is falling back from a little bit. May have gotten the temperatures up a little high and had to back off to keep from cooking the engine.
Look at the 30. He's back in action again. It takes more than a little wall slap off for 200 miles per hour to deter him. Up front, though, back again. Jeremy Stanley, Evan Melanson to the point here.
Going back to what we were saying before that action broke out, though, Matt Saunders, one of the cars that started from pit lane, talked about how they needed to have a caution to stay in this. He just went a lap down. They did not get that caution.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because he's stuck in it more than we've ever seen from anybody. It's not over. It's far from over. We still got a handful of laps here, but not looking good for that team.
And an unfortunate set of circumstances for Cody Dutton. He's lost his partner. He has nobody to work with when he came to the pit lane. As everybody else cycles through their stops, he's going to lose a lot of time. And my goodness, they were out of shape heading into the pit
Evan
lane.
Melanson has hit the commitment cone. I'm not sure if that's a penalty yet, but he's lucky he wasn't spinning through the grass right there. That was a handful.
No, that's,
Pretty sure he was the car I saw tank slapping it, trying to get down to 55 miles an hour.
We'll have to wait and see if Jeremy Stanley's got a penalty here because he had it locked up for a good 300 feet. And we'll see if he made it in under the speed limit, and another moment of silence for another cone we lost today. Up front,
looking at his entry, it is going to be very close as to whether or not he got that thing down to speed.
Jeff Ramsdell in the 25 of Hoff here. Up front, going to be making their pit stop. See if everybody can get on the binders and get it slowed down in time. Again, everybody hard on the brakes. Contact, and
Brandon Hoff's around.
The 46 is in it.
Not sure if
Lots
that'll...
of contact.
And again, contact again. They are furious at the end of pit road here. Oh, this is unfortunate because a lot of cars having to make a basic maneuver.
No caution for all that contact either. They stay green.
It's over for Hoff, though. He's broken the rear suspension, and it is limping down pit road here. An unfortunate day for the 25 of Hoff. It's going to come to an end.
And with no toe, there's going to be no fixing that amount of damage in the amount of time that they have left, especially under green. Looking at it, looked like Nick Lancaster there in the number 46 was merging up towards the outside there a little bit. I thought he had a little bit more room between him and the 25, and they just made contact.
I want to say that's a racing
had to
deal.
now onto the infield grass to miss them.
Yeah, hopefully that 11 does not get penalized for that because it was just the unfortunate case of those guys getting together that sent him onto the grass. Hopefully nothing bad happening there. But up front, racing still continues as we're looking for the cycle around. I think it's going to be with Ramsdell here as he is yet to make his pit stop. He's on the backstretch, I believe so, if I'm not mistaken. He is all by himself.
It appears that of the cars that have pitted, Brennan McGee and Triffin Davis are leading those that have made their pit stops. I'm not sure. They may have done something different on their pit stops because they came out way before the rest of the cars that they came with. Might have had a little bit of a different strategy to make up some time.
Yeah, we'll have to double check on that. Those cars are just going down the super stretch here at Daytona. They are 1-2. And
getting
behind
word from
them,
the pits, those two took 2 tires, so that is indeed what they did to make up some time.
what's that going to do to these cars? I mean, we know 4 tires and fuel is usually the general consensus, but 2 tires here, a little bit of a strategy. Will it pay off in these next 30-some laps?
Well, in theory, they're going to have a handful, but, I mean, I don't think anybody else is taking 2 today, and this is Daytona, so, I mean, it could work or it could be catastrophic failure. It'll take some time to see.
There's 32 laps left to negotiate here on those left side tires. They've been on since the first pit stop. Getting the fresh right side tires, they may be all you need to be able to get through these corners well. Looks like they had enough people on the same game plan for them to get away with it and to make it work. Looks like about a half dozen cars perhaps in that pack of cars that took 2 tires.
So a big shakeup in pit strategy, position on the track as people are still cycling through their pit stops. Jake Potak is one of them. Hayden Rapace is now coming off turn number 2. Richie Evans down the backstretch. He is separated, and we've got about 5 or 6 different little packs of 2x2, or I mean 2 and 2, and then you have a couple of packs, the lead pack to be specific, with 5 cars, and then in front of them, going out of turn number 4, got a couple cars separated just by a couple seconds. So a lot of cars all over this track. It's resembling some type of a non-restrictor plate race where you've got cars spread all the way around this track. So I think we're seeing a little bit of a different monster here. Unfortunately, if the fans want to see some pack racing, it's going to be hard to get going again just with the handful of laps we have remaining. It's going to be interesting. Lead change up front might be taking place here as it looks like Triffin Davis going to the point.
I'm surprised these two want to race as much as they are right now. They have a hefty margin. I think they'd want to maintain 6.5 seconds from fifth place Chris Overland back to sixth place Cody Dutton. That's the difference between 2 tires and 4 tires on that green flag pit stop. 2 tires might be a mistake, though, if we do get that caution. Might be a little bit less maneuverability in the waning laps.
Yeah, you don't want a loose race car with a bumpy, surface. You definitely want to have as much grip as possible. It doesn't help when you're sliding, bumping, and you want the most of your tires you can get. And right now, look at Evan Melanson. He was getting the most of the racetrack. He was all but sideways off turn number 4.
And we have an engine failure. We've been talking about these temps all night long. The number 29 of Nick Terbuck has gone up in smoke. He's slow on the apron through turns 3 and 4. That will be the end of his race here on lap 71.
Will it bring out the caution, though? I doubt it. Oh,
caution
no, there it is. That's the caution. Indeed,
the caution flies for debris from the number 29 and his engine, and this will change everything.
Question is, who's going to be the first car lap down? It looks like it's going to be Ian Plash. He will get his lap back if everything cycles through the way it's looking. Leader's coming across the line right now. Lap 73, and we have our first caution. And I hate to say it, and I really don't want to say it, I think we've seen the end of a clean race here.
Yes, you know everybody likes to say it, cautions breed cautions, and we saw the sense of urgency at the beginning of the race. Everybody wanted to get their turn up front. Now, with less than 30 laps remaining here at Daytona, probably done making pit stops. You have what you have. You got to get in position to get the win, and you got to do whatever you can to get there, and it's going to be crazy.
If you're Brendan McGee, or if you're anybody that has made a 2-tire pit stop, we still have a little bit over 20-some laps. Do you make a pit stop and get those 2 more tires? I mean, do you want to get your car balanced? I mean, we have plenty of time to make up a position. You come in, put 4 tires, and put some more gas in it, and call it a night?
It's a really, really tough decision to make because you want the extra grip. You don't want to be lacking grip when it comes down to the end of this race, but you also don't want to give up a bunch of track position and come out with everybody going to be driving as hard as they're going to be driving. You don't want to put yourself into a position to get caught up into a wreck.
Right now, if Brendan McGee was to make a pit stop and no one else was to make one, he would be sitting 17th place right now. That is all the lead lappers. We still have just about 21 cars that are eligible to race at top speed here, but are a lap down in some of them. And it looks like everybody just listened to us. There's some mixed results there. 12 stays out, 3 stays out. This is going to be interesting. But just like we were saying, it's a hard decision, but it's just been made. The 94, the 32, the 24, and a couple other cars going to make a pit stop and get this thing put up here, put 4 tires on, put some gas, and get back out there. Let's go over who didn't pit, though.
An interesting development, though. The number 29 of Nick Terbuck, he is back out onto the speedway turning laps. He lost a lap in that little bit of an incident that he just had that brought out the caution, but apparently he was slow not because of an engine failure, but because of some wiring in his car. They went under the hood, they took care of that, and now he's back, and he seems to be running under full power, but he lost a lap in the process.
He's running out of time to get that lap back, but cautions breed cautions, and he's in a good spot to get it back if we see another one. So our first caution of the night, 73 laps were completed. We get our first yellow for a debris caution. Your leader right now is Cody Dutton, who elected to stay out. Ian Plash will most likely get the wave around. There it is. He is going to be waved around the pace car. He will be our, he will be our 18th car on the lead lap. In total, there are 22 cars that are running at full speed. Brandon Hoff out 6 laps with suspension damage. Ben Hancock, he is 29 laps down. And your 25th and last place finisher of the race, Sam Limbaugh, 40 laps out. Not a good race for him. Ian Plash is going to come in to take a pit stop, get waved around the pace car. We were talking about some sleepers tonight, and one that kind of stuck in my mind was the 4. He was the one either behind or ahead of the 3. And now that they've kind of got broken up, you think they can get back to the point here and get something going?
Well, that's if they can get back together. But until that happens, I don't think that either of their days are going to go as they had wished. Kyle Traska's had some problems on pit road and almost wrecking off a pit road earlier in the race, and now looks like he's in the top 10, so he might be able to hook up with old friend Cody.
Yeah, that's something interesting to think about, because here is Kyle, who was just on pit road, that we thought he was going to get a black flag because he had came onto pit road way too fast, and now he didn't. He's in a good spot to still get this race won. Right now, like I said, sitting in the 5th position, his buddy pal, Cody Dutton, sitting high, wide, and handsome in 1st place.
But in front of him, he has a longtime friend of his, Scott Stenzel, he can also work with. So he's sitting in a pretty good position right now.
Most definitely. Coffee break.
We're going to step away to a short commercial break, and we'll be back to take the green.
So here we go. Cody Dutton sitting first. It's where he's been most of the day. But it's going to come down to when it really does matter. That is the last handful of laps for this race. Cody Dutton in the 3 car, followed by the 12, followed by the 42 of Scott Stenzel, Jake Potak in the 4th position, and Kyle Taraska rounds out your top 5. We're at Daytona, and we are about to go back to green flag racing, lap number 75. Green flag in the air, and we're back at it.
3/4 of this race now complete, and now it is go time. You have to get yourself into position to get the lead and get into victory lane at the end of this race. We'll see what they all decide to do, if they think they can wait a little bit longer, if they want to go for it. I know that number 12 right behind Cody Dutton, Gabriel Duarte, he's wanted to go since the drop of the green flag at the beginning of this race. He's looking all over his back bumper as they exit turn 2.
Gabriel's been up there quite a bit, and now he's contact
with the 42 of Scott Stenzel as he came down in front of him. Didn't want to give up that position, and they have to check up behind him.
Well, people in Vegas are going crazy now. Put your bets down, because it's hammer time up front. And look at these guys pulling away. The number 1, 2 positions, they're starting to pull. And man, does Gabriel want this more than anything he's ever wanted. Side by side, nose to tail, put it wherever you want to, Gabriel. You're going to get it done. He's just trying to do it today. Into turn number 1, lead him off.
And looks like Kyle Taraska has found Scott Stenzel to work with now. And you got to think that they're going to try and chase in those leaders here. The leader's going to get hot here soon, so you got to think that they're preparing to be there when that happens.
Gabriel Duarte was pushing Cody Dutton all the way from the start-finish line to halfway down the back straightaway. Put a little bit of a gap between himself and 3rd place, but now that they've broken apart, 42 of Scott Stenzel and the rest of the pack are closing right in on him.
And just like that, got a couple cars, Scott Stenzel and Kyle Taraska are there. They are there, and they're going to try to make a move. Whether it be high or low, they're going to go somewhere. Got a sleeper. Look at this. The number 41 car. We haven't seen him all day. Where's he come from? He's one to get into this mix.
Another one of those drivers who's kept all of his equipment, taken care of it, and kept out of trouble, and now he's in a position to take advantage here as the laps wind down.
And they are most certainly doing just that. Looking back here, a couple cars trying to form a high line. Not been too successful tonight.
Led by Jake Potak and that number 30. Right side damage and all. He's leading that pack. He's not letting it hold him back.
Yeah, he's going to put it in the fence another time tonight if that's what's going to give him the win. Contact with the 12. He's sideways in the tri-oval. Cody
My goodness,
Dutton
he was up on the bumper to the 3 trying to push him and just hit his bumper wrong, ended up on the apron, and now everybody's having to check up. More contact in the corner.
And we're stacked going in through turns 1 and 2. Gonna go down the super stretch. It's gonna be a move off turn number 2. Where does the 42 go? High, low, put them where you can get them. The 30 pushing the 4 car. The 12 getting pushed by the 41. Cody Dutton leads down the super stretch.
Being pushed by Scott
talked about
Stenzel.
it, the number 3 of Cody Dutton and the number 4 of Kyle Taraska, they worked throughout the entire first half of this race before Taraska had his issues on pit road. Now they're working against each other as Taraska's trying to make the high line work and Cody Dutton's trying to maintain the lead on the bottom.
Cody Dutton is so strong. You can't get around him. You're going to have to devise a plan that is of biblical proportions, because that's exactly what's about to take place here. On the high side, Kyle Taraska, he's not going to give up. They might be buddies, but he's going for the win, too. Off turn number 2, the super stretch is going to lay it out. Here they come down it. Where will they go?
Working lap number 80, Jake Potak pushes the number 4 of Kyle Taraska to the lead and then is left hung out to dry. Taraska decides to cut back in front of the guy he was able to work with so well the first half of this race, that being Cody Dutton, and now the number 30 is going to have to try and work with the number 2 of Jeff Ramsdell and work his way back up.
Yeah, and that little tango they had there lasted little less than Kim Kardashian's marriage there, and that's happened so many times. Potak has been hung out to dry on the high side, and it's been by the same 2 guys, and they have been up front all day. Your leaders, 4 and 3.
The battle is now for third as those 2 got a little bit of a separation, a couple car lengths behind Cody Dutton back to Scott Stenzel. Now he's able to break out in front of the number 30, getting a push from the number 12, and they work their way back up towards the lead.
I hate to say it, but if you're going to want to beat this 4 and 3 car, you're going to want to put one of them in the fence, and you're going to want to turn one of them coming off 4. But to be quite honest, you're going to want to devise a plan, and that's just what the 12 is looking to do, as he almost loses it off turn number 4.
Completing lap number 81, it's really going to take a bunch of cars working together to beat those 2. They're really strong because they're just hanging out and waiting for somebody to try and make a run on them, and then they start pushing. If they apply the pressure long enough, they're eventually going to get to the point where their engines are too hot and they're going to have to back off, and that's when you're going to be able to strike.
That's what I was just about to say. If the 42 is smart, he's going to lay his bumper on the back bumper of the 3s and not let go. He's going to try to push him into the car in front of him. It's going to get to a point where he's going to boil over and going to have to move out of the line. But you got to make sure you don't blow up.
In that top 4 is Gabriel Duarte. We've been watching him all day. He's been all over the place, and he's been going for it, and it's worked so far for him. And he may be the wild card. We'll have to watch what he tries to do to get up to the lead.
The thing I'm most worried about is how many cars we still have left. Coming across the line this time, 18 cars on the lead lap. That's 18 cars that can win this race here.
Separated by less than 3 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but they're going to make them real wide, and we're going to get stacked here in a couple of laps. The intensity is picking up. The eye of the storm is being created as we speak.
Looking at the battle here for the 4th position, now becoming the battle for the 3rd position. Jake Potak once again working that high line.
Contact! The 30
Contact with the number 12, and they straighten it out. Amazing.
But they are stacked coming off 4. This is not going to last long. I tell you right now. They are all over the place, and Duarte is there in the 12, and he is trying everything he can do to stay behind Stencil, but it's not going to last too long. Contact with the 12. More contact going into 1. They're looking 3 wide in the turns 1 and 2.
Oh my goodness, the 12's up on the back bumper of the 42. The 42 is on the back bumper of the 3, and he worked his way out of line, almost lost that 3rd position.
Oh man, look at the 47, look at the 2 car. They are side by side for a second. Now they get nose to bumper down the super stretch. All this is happening.
And they have a whale of a run. They go right past the number 12 of Gabriel Duarte like he's sitting still. Now,
contact,
my goodness.
one in the wall.
More contact. The number 30 of Jake Potak gets in the wall, and that hit may do it for him.
Yeah, and they're checking up because a lot of guys trying to get out of the way, and he might have snuffed it in just that. I think it's done. Contact, and they spin and crash.
That's going to be it. There's the caution. Contact between the number 30 of Jake Potak and Peter Bohal.
That was uncalled for. I'm not sure what happened, and one car is missing a front end, and I believe it's going to be the innocent bystander of the 86 car, and it's gone. The front end of that car is gone.
Peter Bohal was running in 15th at that time, going past the damaged car of Jake Potak. Potak came down, must not have known that he was there. Maybe figured that the cars that he was racing with had cleared him, didn't even know that the 11 was underneath them, and just came right down and made contact with him and sent them both spinning.
Hold on, guys. We've got a lead change up front. Well, all this was going on. Taraska took the lead. I guess it was a swap, unless Tarasca was leading before. Was it him or was it the 3 car? I'm not sure. It looked, but it definitely does look like it's not going to be Cody leading in the second place. It looks like Chris Overland's going to get second, and Jeff Ramsel's fourth, and Cody Dutton is going to get third. So they're going to be split up on this restart. A wild last couple laps, and we're about to get down to 10 to go. With 10 to go, what do you expect? Because I'm not sure what to expect. We just seen some of the craziest racing. We've still yet to see a big crash.
All I know is that they're going to get
officials continue to review the situation with this caution. They have to see who's at fault and who's going to be put at the tail end of the longest line for this next restart.
It's we're gonna have a crazy finish to this race coming ahead if they go green from where they restart.
Okay, let's reset it for you. As they come across the line, your leader is going to be Kyle Tarasca. We'll have to see how many laps he's led today if we can get that statistic base, just to see how dominant that car's been.
Give me just a
second.
second.
For that. Chris Overland is second, Cody Dutton third, Jeff Ramsdell fourth, and fifth is Scott Stencil. And my goodness,
Kyle Tarasca has led 31 laps today.
31 of the 86 completed so far. And if anybody is not going to predict him to win this race or even finish good, you have lost your yarbles, honestly, because this guy has been up front all day. I just want to cut in here and let you know,
Gabriel Duarte putting the number 30 into the wall, they have given him an EOL penalty.
So if you're not really familiar with that term, it's the end of the longest line. That does put him behind lappers. So a punishment for the 12 car there. It's unfortunate because, you know, we thought he was going to be a definite contender, and we still have plenty of laps for it to be a relevant prediction, but he's going to be pretty far back. And we've been saying cautions breed cautions, and if that's the case, he's going to be right in the war zone. So our last caution was lap 73. Our second caution here is going to fall on lap number 86, or 85, excuse me. So 2 cautions in 87 laps. That's not bad whatsoever, especially at a track that with, you know, the reputation that precedes it. A monster of a track, fast and definitely crazy. But I don't think we've seen the craziest part of this race. So if you're watching this broadcast and you think, you know, oh, it's going to die down, it's only going to get crazier. So unfortunately for Kyle Tarasca, he doesn't want to hear that. But the unfortunate truth here is if you think you've seen the craziest part, you have not even seen the little bit.
Looks like we're going to have about 12 laps to go when we go back green. Whether or not we run those 12 laps under full speed is yet to be seen. I myself, I doubt it, but no doubt it's going to get crazy, as everybody know. It's absolutely do or die. You have to make your moves, and any little slip might just cost you the race.
Unfortunately, with iRacing, there are no green-white checkers, so we're seeing about, depending on how many lappers we have, the caution flags are 2 to 3 laps long, and that confirms it right there. So 3 laps per caution, as far as the caution laps. That's going to give you a small window of opportunity. If we go back to green flag racing race 5 and then have a caution, it's going to be, you know, basically a green-white checkered. We can't, you know, be sitting here and waiting. If you're the 12, you've got to, as soon as the green flag comes out, there's no wait and, you know, and sit and just be very cautious. You've got to go for broke. And unfortunately, that might cost someone the race, and it might cost you the race. And there is no racing back. So if you make it to that white flag, it's no holds bars. But until then, you want to be conservative, but you know this field's not going to be conservative. So the only person that should be conservative is the leader, because he's going to be holding off a good 17 cars when they come back around this next time.
It's almost to the point where the best thing you can do to ensure your safety is be the one making the aggressive moves. Because if you put yourself into a position where you're waiting, trying to, let the race pan out and come to you, you might find yourself getting put into the fence because somebody else is trying to make their move.
Yeah, exactly. That's you can't say it any better there. It's in the end, whoever wins this race is going to be most likely the guy who was leading when the caution came out. I would love to say we make it to the green or we make it to the white flag without a caution. It's Daytona though, and if it precedes its reputation, it's going to get crazy. And unfortunately, we're going to see some bad stuff for these guys. But they're going to give it their all. I know for a fact Kyle Traska doesn't want to lose this race, but I know Cody Dutton is going to do just about anything and everything to win this race. He's led a lot of laps, and him and Kyle have been up front all day. It'd be a shame to see him finish no more than second place. Coming to take the green flag.
This is a very pivotal restart, though. Kyle Traska has to make sure he doesn't spin the tires or anything, but he also can't get too big a jump, otherwise they're going to get a big run to him.
Lead it away, Tyler.
And they take the green flag, work their way off the wall, and now down to the yellow line where you can't pass below to 47 to Chris Overland, looking for a run on the number 4, now puts his nose to the outside. Can he get some help?
And he's not looking to get any help right off the bat. It looks like the 3 and the 4 hooking up once again. Where will the 2 of Ramsdell go? Right now he's on the high side, but it looks like Overland's going to jump to the bottom. Off turn number 2, down the super stretch. Going to get up to speed. Where's everybody going to go?
Chris Overland got a good restart there, but he just didn't have anybody behind him to give him a push. Unfortunately, he was a victim of the fact that he had nobody to work with him.
Now Overland trying to get someone to go behind him, and he's looking left, he's looking right. Ramsdell's not having it. Meanwhile, up front, the 3 and the 4 starting to pull away a car length over Overland off turn number 4.
Coming down to the start-finish line, it's going to be 11 laps to go, starting with Kyle Traska in the lead. Cody Dutton still continuing to push him, and now the question is, when does Cody Dutton decide to make his move?
Well, if he's smart, he's as soon as he can possibly do it, because, like I said, these caution flags are going to take a lot of time up, especially with the no GWCs. You're not going to want to risk wasting time. So if you're Cody and you really want to win this race, you make your move whenever you possibly can. And as we say this now, they're not making any moves. They are nose to tail and trying to pull away from this pack behind them.
And meanwhile, back behind them, all those cars trying to find a partner, trying to find somebody they can push while the engines are still cool. Meanwhile, they're closing in on behind Cody Dutton there. As they come down to the start-finish line, Chris Overland going to the outside for second, and now trying to get a run from Jeff Ramsdell, pushing behind him for the lead.
And as they go into turn 1 and 2, this is going to be pivotal into turns 1 and 2. Side by side for the lead. 9 laps remaining. They're sideways. They're going over the bumps. Chris Overland off turn number 2, down the back stretch.
Give the edge to Overland as they work the back stretch, about half a car length ahead of Kyle Traska. They're getting pushed by their partners on the bottom line. We have Cody Dutton up top, Jeff Ramsdell up all the way against the wall, trying to get all the momentum. It allows Traska to get the edge off of turn number 4, but they're going to get the run. Let's see who gets it at the line. Coming to 9 laps to go.
And it's going to be close. If this was the finish, it would be crazy. Overland by a fender, and there they go. Ramsdell, he's got to be getting hot. He's looking low. Can they clear him down low? They do. 1, 2, Ramsdell
3
and
wide
Overland
behind them.
And look,
we have the 99 of Jeremy Stanley, the 42 of Scott Stenzel, and the 92 of Ian Plash, all 3 wide, and now they sort it out. Ian Plash trying to make a run up there, but just doesn't have anybody working with him.
And something we haven't seen all day, and that is Ian Plash. He has made his way up front. He's broken into the top 6. Let's see if he can get anything going. They are looking wide. Here comes the 3 of Dutton. Here comes Kyle Traska. Overland.
Chris Overland for the block. And he couldn't quite get there. Now he can't cut down in front of Jeff Ramsdell. But Cody Dutton goes to the middle. Now he's pushing Chris Overland. It's no longer time for partners. It's time to fend for yourself.
It's 3 wide going into turn number 1.
Dives to the bottom. Could be contact. And Chris Overland has to give the lane. And Cody Dutton edges into the lead.
Down the super stretch. They're going to come off turn number 2. This is going to be pivotal. Here they come. The 41 all over the back bumper of Overland. No one helping Dutton down the super stretch. Overland with the point.
Giving the push to Chris Overland, putting him back into the lead. Tries to cut below, clips the apron, and that's going to jumble everybody up Taraska in the number 4 gets in the
Contact,
wall, and
Ian
they're
Flash,
going
hard to wall,
around. It's
problems.
the big one here with 8 laps to go.
They save it, though. It's only Plash. One car sideways, the rest of the field catches. Caution flag is out, and it's all over for Plash. Service Master Clean Caution will fly for the 3rd time today on lap number 93.
Man, that was just a situation. Everybody's trying to get everything they can get. Looked like Kyle Taraska was trying to come down, then had to move up. And when he just caught the wall and tried to come down a little bit, and Ian Plash was coming up, and they made contact. That's a product of racing 3 wide on a really bumpy racetrack.
I'm not going to say I'm superstitious or anything, but I did say if we go 5 laps and get a caution, we'll see a GWC. Guess how many laps we went? We went 5. 94 laps complete here. We're going to see a 2 or 3 lap caution flag. That's the case. We're looking for a 2 to 3 lap shootout here. Well,
on the side note, your beneficiary of this caution is Nick Tarabuk. Remember, he brought out that caution with 30 laps to go with his issues. Now he's going to get back onto the lead lap. Going to have a chance to win this thing if everything pans out.
While we were getting so excited for that battle up front, we said the 12 of Gabe had to get something going here, and unfortunately he didn't. He made his way up to 13th place, which is a 3 spot increase, but that's just about it. Doesn't look like he's going to have anything for him, but unfortunately, the most unfortunate wreck, or the car that was in this wreck, is the Kyle car. I'm forgetting his name, Taraska here. He had a chance to win this race. He was up front all day, leading a substantial amount of laps, and now it appears he's going to have damage. How much, we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Looks like the 12's going to elect to pit. Condom's there. He's going to pit, and McGee, who also had contact with a couple of cars in that crash. A little bit of front end damage. We'll have to wait and see if that McDonald's 94 gets going. But man, so all this has just reset the field completely, and somewhere, somehow, in some way, Chris Overland leads the 41 second, and Dutton in the 3rd position in the 3 car. If you're Dutton, it's not over. It's far from over, right, Tyler? So it looks like we're going to be getting a 3-lap shootout, 3 to 4, depending if the lights go out this time, or 3 to 2. As of right now, lap 95 of 100.
All I know is that once that green flag drops, you're going to want to be in the lead, because I'm guessing the next caution will end the race. So
Yeah, that is confirmed. It will end the race with the lappers.
So from the drop of the green, it's do or die. You can't hold off anymore.
No one's going to elect to pit, so the running order will stay the same as far as the top 7 or 8. Evan Melanson's still there. Looks like Triffin Davis has somehow fiddled his way through the madness.
You know, that's the little group I'd watch out for right there. Jeremy Stanley, Triffin Davis, and Evan Melanson. They've raced with each other for a long time, and you've got to expect that if all else goes wrong, they're going to work that outside and try and give one of them the win.
I just spoke with race officials. They looked at that replay from a bunch of angles, and they weren't able to pinpoint one driver that was at fault. Looked like the 2 came up, hit the 92, and at the same time, Taraska was bouncing off the wall, so they had to call it a racing incident. There's no EOLs as a result of that incident.
And while we were going over that, the lights have turned off on the pace car. We are going to go green this time.
So we're going to have 4 laps to work with here. A caution will end it. Looks like we have 16 cars on the lead lap. While we work this final lap under caution, we'll give you the rundown of the cars on the lead lap. Your leader, number 47, Chris Overland. Behind him, the number 41 of Matt Stelnecht. Number 3, Cody Dutton running in third. Jeff Ramsdell runs fourth. Jeremy Stanley rounds out the top 5. Then you have Triffin Davis in the number 24 running 6th. Evan Melanson running 7th. Scott Stenzel running 8th. Matt Saunders 9th. And Nick Lancaster 10th. Rounding out your lead lap cars, Richie Evans in 11th. Nick Terbuck 12th. Gabriel Duarte 13th. Michael Krobach 14th, Kyle Taraska 15th, and Brennan McGee in 16th. Every car left running on the track beyond that point is 1 or more laps down.
Coming off turn number 4, this is going to be the restart that ends, or the next flag will end the race. This restart is going to be important. Chris Overland knows what he's got to do, and that is keep the rest of these 15 or 16 cars that are running for this race behind him. He's going to have to do everything to keep the 41, though. Chris Overland in the 47 leading him to the flag. Green flag is out.
And there they go from the wall, diving down to the yellow line. Cody Dutton's going to cut to the outside. Jeff Ramsdell's going to go with him. Can they get the push? Looks like Matt Stelnecht is pushing Chris Overland.
Chris Overland blocks low, though. Look at the 41. He's not going to give up. 41, bumping. But just as we've seen before, Dutton to the high side. He has no help, all by himself down the super stretch. He's got the run, though, to the
Jeff
back bumper of
Ramsdell
Overland.
was trying to push number 3 of Cody Dutton. Got a little bit of a bad angle, bumping him. Cut down to the apron as a result of it. Now he's pushing the 41.
Now the 41 and Chris Overland get together. Caution, and
With a wreck at the back, this is going to be it.
Oh, we have a car flipping in the
Huge
air.
crash.
And Scott Stenzel, another car flipping. Gabriel Duarte in the number 12. Lots of carnage in turns 3 and 4 as they come to 3 to go. Take the caution flag. That's going to end it. Your winner, assuming that he can finish these last 3 laps at speed, is going to be Chris Overland.
Cars involved. Well, we got a couple. Jeremy Stanley is in it. Stenzel. Let's see. Evan Melanson with a broken back suspension, it appears. We had one car get up into the fence. Several cars upside down. Brennan McGee was also there. He seemed to have gotten through that without too much damage. Terbuck was also there. Nick Lancaster.
Looking at the replay here, they enter turns 3 and 4, 3 wide. And, oh my goodness, it looks like there was a bit of an issue with the 99. And he comes back in front of these group of cars that are running, and they just all get into each other. Nothing they can do to avoid this incident. Sends the number 42 of Scott Stenzel flipping, then a huge impact for the number 12 and the number 46. Gabriel Duarte and Nick Lancaster, they both go flipping and barrel rolling through turns 4. Carnage here in the waning laps.
Yeah, Brennan McGee was one of the last guys to get there. He had made it through, and then he'd gotten into the back of another car, kept that thing pointed straight. No harm, no foul, but yeah, savage hit by a lot of these cars, specifically the 46. And it appears everybody is going to either retire or get back going. Going to be seeing the white flag next time by. Chris Overland leads. And plenty of fuel in these cars, so it's safe to say as long as that car, Chris Overland's, the 47, doesn't have any mechanical issues, he will most certainly win this race. And kind of an upset, really, because here we have Cody Dutton, and we had a couple other guys, specifically Kyle Traska, and here we're thinking, he's going to get it done. They've done just that all day, and it comes to show that it doesn't matter how many laps you lead. It's what matters is being in the right position at the right time. We said that at the beginning of the race. Put yourself in the right position for the last couple of laps and stay out of trouble. And I think that's exactly what Chris Overland did. But a lot of these guys had the chance to do just that. And I think at the end of the day, I think Cody Dutton should be happy for what he got. I mean, he was up front, in the back, and a top 4 or a top 5, is not that bad. And it's funny because here we see Jeff Ramsdell and Matt in the 41. None of these guys were really up front, especially in the top 3 all day. And then, like I said, put yourself in the right position, you'll get it done, and that's just what they did.
A lot of drivers had strong runs. We did see Jeff Ramsdell work his way up to the front sometimes, and had to work his way back up with some stumbles throughout the race. But Chris Overland was another one of those drivers. He started up towards the front and worked his way to the back, kept his fenders clean, made sure he didn't get any damage, kept himself out of trouble, and then when it came down to it, he ended up being able to hold on to the lead, and when that caution came out, it's all about being in the right position, but you have to make sure you're there, able to take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, another car that was battling his way up to the pack was Ian Plash. Unfortunately, got in that second to last caution, and it looks like we're going to wrap this race up with a total of three crashes, I believe, or 3 cautions, 3 or 4. Not bad, especially seeing that we went 60-something laps without even one. So definitely a successful show that these guys put on today. Ending under caution, like we said, I knew it was going to be hard to see these guys make it to the white flag without crashing. It just comes down to not enough space and too many cars. In the end, a reasonably clean race.
Well, yes. Whenever it gets to crunch time and everybody's trying to get themselves into the position they think they need to be in to win, people are going to cross paths, and you're going to have the kind of carnage that we saw there at the end as they work this last lap under caution. Assuming that everything rounds out the way that they're running right now, Chris Overland, as we said, will be your winner. Matt Stelnecht in the 41 will be second, and Jeff Ramsdell will be third. We'll hear from those 3 drivers at the end of this race. We'll go ahead and give you a full field rundown. 4th is Cody Dutton. We saw him run so strong, just didn't have the partner there at the end, and then end up having the time with that caution coming out to regroup. Triffin Davis has a nice rally there at the end to finish 5th. Matt Saunders works his way to 6th. He was a lap down at one point. He started from the pits. We talked about him losing his lap. He got it back, and he was able to work his way back into the top half dozen. Richie Evans finishes 7th. Kyle Tarasco will finish 8th. Nick Tarbuck will finish 9th. And Brennan McGee is going to run out your top 10. After flipping in that wild ride he took down in turns 3 and 4 for that last caution, Scott Stenzel will finish 11th, and Michael Krobach will round out your top dozen and round out the number of cars finishing on the lead lap at the checkered flag. The field works its way through turns 3 and 4 at pace speed. Coming off of turn 4, Chris Overland is yards away from his victory in the I've Got Ballz 250. There were a lot of drivers that showed that they had cojones tonight, but in the end, Chris Overland is going to top them all.
Yep, right up behind the pace car, Chris Overland through the tri-oval. A little slower than usual, but he'll take it. As the sun sets over here at Daytona, Chris Overland in the 47 car wins at Daytona, and I've Got Ballz 250. A fantastic run by the guy. He's going to burn him down here at Daytona International Speedway.
You called it, though. That penultimate caution, you said that you didn't think we were going to make it to the end, green flag, and sure enough, we ended at pace speed.
Yep. But, you'll take it whatever which way you get it, and today, Chris Overland earned it. He is your winner.
As Chris Overland works his way around the track to burn him back down on the front stretch, give you the rest of the full field rundown. Hayden Rapaugh finishes 13th, 14th belongs to Evan Watson, 15th to Jeremy Stanley, 16th Gabriel Duarte, 17th Danny Congdon, 18th Nick Lancaster, 19th Ian Plash, and 20th belongs to Neil Fasekis. 21st, Jake Potak. 22nd, Peter Bohal. 23rd, Brandon Hoff. 24th, Ben Hancock. 25th, Sim Lambaugh. And that rounds out your field. Some extracurricular activity there on the cool-down lap. Jeff Ramsdell and Chris Overland. I don't know if that was congratulations or if that was frustration, because it ended with Jeff Ramsdell in the wall. Nonetheless, yeah. Chris Overland, your winner.
Doing the donuts to top off the win here in the Turtle Wax Menards Ford, and the good win here at Daytona. Well, it was good commentating with you guys, but I got to head out. Appreciate you letting me do it, Alex and Tyler.
See you next time.
See ya.
In a minute, we'll get an interview with our top 3 finishers.
I'm going to have to say it was congratulations based upon what just happened on the infield here.
Yeah, I'd assume so.
They're both celebrating. Chris Overland continues to burn him down, ecstatic over his success over the course of 250 miles.
I guess while he does a Polish victory lap, maybe we can interview our third and second place finishers.
That'd be Jeff Ramsdell and Matt Stelnock. Let's see if we can get a hold of them.
User was moved to your channel.
And we have Jeff Ramsdell here with us. Strong run for you there, but you just ran out of time with that caution coming out. Tell us about your run.
That whole race was great, actually. Got to thank all these drivers. They're all full of talent. They're all great drivers to put on a great race like this, and thanks to Brendan McGee for it too. I was hoping it would go green, maybe have a chance at the win, but I'm glad my teammate Chris Overland got it there at the end. I'm glad I could help him push him up there.
Assuming that it did go green, what was going to be your strategy? What were you going to try to do to get the win?
To be honest, I have no idea. I was just going to go with it and go wherever I could.
I suppose sometimes that's what you have to do, just deal with the cards that you're dealt. What was your strategy? Early on, we didn't get a caution, but we did have a lot of cars scattering with some different issues, cars going out onto the apron. What was the key to you keeping out of that trouble?
I just thought I was going to hang at the front. I didn't get enough time, didn't get a chance to qualify, so I just started in the back. I think I started around 20th. I just worked my way to the front. I was just riding on the high line, and somehow I got up there. My whole team wanted to hang at the back. I'm about the only one that didn't, so I was just riding around in line up at the front. We all decided to just run single file.
Well, congratulations on your third place finish, Jeff Ramsdell.
Thank you.
User was moved out of your channel.
Now let's see if we can get second place finisher Matt Stelnock.
User was moved to your channel.
And we've caught up with Matt. Matt, tell us about your second place run here today.
It was pretty good run tonight. I was pretty happy with the racing and everything. It just had to make a couple moves up the middle there at the end, and I think I could have had a shot at Chris, but I waited a little bit too long, and then the wreck happened behind us. But overall, it was just an awesome event, and I'm happy to bring it home second.
We stayed green for the first 60 laps, but there's a lot of carnage there in the final 40 laps that we ran tonight. What did you do to keep yourself out of that trouble?
I just tried to keep a bubble around me at all times. Me and Overland were running a ton of a different tire strategy where we were running a different line around the track, and we were doing it so that we could make sure that no one could get runs on us and stuff like that. So we were able to kind of protect ourselves. I just kind of sensed when trouble was coming and back out of it and stuff like that. And then, of course, with 10 laps to go, you kind of just got to do what you got to do. You can't really worry about wrecks and stuff.
And if that race stayed green, what were you going to do to get around Chris Overland?
I was probably just going to try and lay back and then wait until Jeff could give me a bit of a shot and then just try and hang on his outside, because the side draft's enough in these cars where you can pretty much hang there. So I was going to try and do it with one to go. Either that, or I was going to try and push him a lot and see if I can get him to push up the track and get underneath him on exit. But you never really know what could have happened, but that's probably what I would have done.
Well, absolutely a great run for you, Matt, tonight. Anybody you'd like to give a shout-out to, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely my team, Nexus Esports. They make all this stuff happen, and frontstretch.com for sponsoring me. And other than that, I think that's it.
Alrighty, well, congratulations once again on your second place run. Almost got there at the end, just needed a little bit more time. That's Matt Stelnock finishing second here tonight.
Yep, thanks, guys.
User was moved out of your channel.
And now we're going to work our way down to Victory Lane and we're with Chris Overland.
Buddy was moved to your channel.
And here we are in victory lane. Chris Overland stands above them all after 250 miles at Daytona. Chris, how do you feel right now?
Oh man, that race is awesome. I thought that we threw it away. Right before that last caution came out. Right before the last, little stint we had, man. I can't thank Jeff Ramsdell enough, man. He gave me a shot down the back to get me up in the lead. And going down into turn 3, I saw him jump high. I told him once we got out front, just race me. I don't want it given to me. And he went up top, and I went up there to block his run, and his car just cut better than mine, and I ended up putting Kyle Taraska in the wall. And I want to say sorry to him. I did throw a few blocks out there, but that's what you got to do to get the trophy here at Daytona. I'm so glad I got it. This is an awesome race. I just want to thank Mile High Motorsports, all the guys at Comic Sans, SRG, all you guys watching. That was awesome. Great race.
I'll agree with you there. It was absolutely a fantastic race, and you did what you needed to do to get victory lane. Tell us about that last restart, what was going through your mind, and what you did to keep up front before that crash happened.
Well, I was talking to Jeff on our team channel there, and he told me he didn't know what he was going to do. He just had to get to me somehow, and once he got to me, we'd race it out. And I told him, well, when you get to me, I'm going to make this car as wide as I can. And luckily, I got to block both lanes there at the end. I was working both sides of the street. I didn't want to leave Dutton out there at the end because he had been working with me for a good portion of the race, and I just had to do it. I seen Matt with a huge run. I came down and they started wrecking behind me. It was just everything that could have went right for me there at the end, and it was awesome.
Sometimes when it's your night, and that was the case for Chris Overland tonight. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, again, all the guys at Comic Sans. There's Kevin Hossman, Robert Kuroga, Jesse Barbieri, Nick Dawson, Ryan Thompson, all them guys over there. Sim Racers Garage, all the guys who talk in there, and sim racing won't be what it is without those guys. They're keeping it alive, and everybody over there just for supporting the games and the simulations that we do. It's a dying, it's growing, but at the same time it's dying, and those guys over there are keeping it alive. So I want to thank them, Menards for being on the car, and Brendan and all these guys for putting this race together. This is the funnest racing I've had in years.
A really fun race for us to watch, too, and you came out on top of the I've Got Ballz 250. Congratulations, Chris.
I do got balls.
Woo!
Thanks, guys.
Buddy was moved out of your channel.
Well, it was a long night of racing, a lot of side-by-side action, and a lot of crazy moves made on the racetrack. Worked for some, didn't work as well for others. Any closing thoughts, Alex?
All I can say is I'll be here next month to see it all again at Talladega.
Going to be a little bit of a different dynamic with that race. You're not going to have the bumps. Going to be a lot more pushing able to happen there, but also a lot more room to work with. You're going to see 3 and 4 wide.
Definitely a lot more room to work with. I expect it to be a lot like we saw today, just minus the bumps. And
Absolutely.
With that, we will conclude our coverage of the I've Got Ballz 250. Until we meet again, Alex Bates and Tyler Head in the booth.
Good night.